Hello and welcome to this Junior's Gasoline Alley, where today we're taking a look at the Alfa Romeo Tonale. This is Alfa Romeo's compact crossover, and the one we're looking at has the Veloce package, which means it's got a couple of really nice goodies like these big, beautiful wheels on it and a hybrid all-wheel drive system. So hybrid meaning we've got an engine up front, but it also is a plug-in so that it can operate up to 33 miles of range all on its own. And so we're going to go into this video to check out the car from the baseline of knowing that, well, this is the newest model in Alfa's lineup, and I personally own a 2020 Stelvio, so I'm getting a chance to experience the Alfa Romeo style in a little bit smaller car, and one that is platform shared with Dodge, specifically their Dodge Hornet. So let's get into the car. We'll talk about the outside, we'll get inside, and then let's go to drive together and let you know my thoughts as we conclude the video. So beginning from the outside, I think Alfa has really done a great job of taking a compact crossover and making it look, feel, and kind of have that character of Alfa Romeo. Of course, with that beautiful front end and some really cool headlights. These headlights are quite nice on the front of the car. I love that it comes with the side license plate. So of course you're not screwing up with the heritage look of that grille and the front bumper setup. This being a Veloce trim does have a couple of nice accents, especially with all of the gloss black, say over the wheel arches, the mirrors, and this one does have the larger sunroof. Now this sunroof is not all glass, so as you go back you do get to the standard metal, but I think the car does a great job of kind of coming together and looking nice. For a car this size, there's few that, look better. Granted, it shares a lot of its looks with what you would get with the Dodge Hornet for about 10 grand less, so keep that in mind. But of course, out back, we've got some really nice looking rear taillights. The whole bumper fascia is pretty neat. And I do love the wheels that come with this car. So this car is riding on 20-inch wheels. So really big wheels. Granted, they're fairly narrow at 235s. And as we go forward, you have Alfa Romeo's 4-piston brake calipers finished in this red on a dual-plated vaned disc brake up front. So really nice setup. I love seeing those brakes beneath the car, and you kind of need it when we drive. We'll talk about it, but for what it is a spunky little car. Now, speaking of little, the inside is a bit of a letdown if you're coming from a larger car, but it has interesting proportions to it. So as I open this up, you can look inside, and it is a very nice looking car. You've got pretty bolstered seats with this sort of Microtex style suede like material on the inside, which does have the red beneath it. And you do get Alfa Romeo's signature steering wheel and some beautiful aluminum paddles, which that of course is nice to see. Out back, it's a similar story. Decent legroom, and something that even for myself, sitting behind myself, I've got adequate legroom, and you do have enough room for a car seat. This car seat is set up for a 2.5-year-old, the little leg extension, and sitting comfortably up front, you still have enough room out back. Speaking of out back, you do have your lights. You've got some plugs for both a USB-C and a USB-A charger, and a pretty nice view out front, although you can see that moonroof, or sunroof I should say, well, it doesn't come all the way back, and that's something that at least with the Stelvio you would get. Now looking back, you've got a cover for the load floor back there, so it gives you clean access to look out back and does covering your valuables. And as you go out back, we do have a automatic tailgate to load up. Plenty of good space back here. Being that it is a hybrid, there's of course not going to be any additional room for, say, a spare tire, because underneath here is going to be where the battery is. But back there, you do have these nice little latches that help hold up the load floor so you can get into the other small stuff underneath here. And there is enough room for, say, this stroller that I have with me, that this can easily go right into the back, and we have room to spare. Now you do have a 12-volt outlet, a little bit of lighting back here, which is always nice. And yep, you can just press that button, or press it again rather, and that will close up for us. Moving forward, let's take a look inside. Of course, mentioning the blind spot mirrors there, and take a look at what we've got inside, plus our sticker. So this Monroney label, well, this is for the Tonale Veloce E all-wheel drive. So it's got a few options. It's got that 28E preferred option, a couple other things, $2,000 for those 5-spoke wheels, which is quite a bit, and $1,200 for a really small piece of glass. I don't know why, but that's been a bit of a bummer for me, but it does bring this car out to be $54,640. And for that, you're going to get 29 miles to the gallon, I guess. Now, we've got plenty of room to be able to carry whatever you need in the glove box, and your interior is decidedly Alfa looking. Nice with the paddle shifters. The center is fine, a little bit cheap on the shift boot, but you've got all your controls here. I'll talk about a couple of my gripes on the controls later. And then this tablet style screen. Now, you can see there's quite a few fingerprints on it. I wish this screen was kind of built into the car a bit better. I feel like that would have made a big difference in how the car looks. But overall, it's nice, and I do have some concern over a couple of the materials. For example, we've got this nice suede material on the dash, which probably will hold up nice. The dash is soft touch, all of that. The seats all are fine, but then you've got this scratchy, junky feeling material right where your hands are on the door cards all the time. The rest of it does feel nice. The center charger for your phone, this one's been a weird one for me. When I put it in there, it starts charging, and every bump it then says that it started charging again. It comes up on the screen, kind of, I don't know. It seems to work, but it's been pretty annoying. I wish it just stayed charged, and I think that's because the spacing is a bit challenged. Now, of course, in here we do have that USB-A, USB-C. We've got a 12-volt, not a cigarette lighter, so oh well, but you can charge your Joules, I'm sure. And back here, little bitty center console. I mean, the car does show that it's small. On the topic of small, what is kind of interesting about it is going to the back. It's a lot longer than you would think. I mean, if you reach your hand out, it's pretty far back there. But to the side, I'm much closer in width. And so I think that's a bit strange that they would have such a wide, or rather narrow feel to the car, but a lot of extra length. I'm guessing that must be in some small part to how they were packaging and putting it together, especially since with the E all-wheel drive out back, the car is truly more of a front-wheel drive car than anything else. Just something I want to show you here. So let's go ahead and pop our hood. So we'll pull that, we'll get out back, and underneath the hood, we'll be able to see this quite small 1.3 liter engine. So this is a tiny little engine, and I know the cover makes it look much bigger, but right there we've got our catalytic converter and our turbo. And if we look to the side, the actual engine, let's see if we can get in there, is quite a ways in. So it's a lot of plastic covering, making it look a little bigger than it is. And the size of the engine really isn't all that important, but this is a longitudinal engine, meaning it is truly a front-wheel drive that happens to have that electric all-wheel in the back. And under most scenarios, it does drive and feel just fine, but you can feel a little bit of torque steer in the car while you're accelerating hard. And it really shows up prominently that it's E-assisted when you deplete the battery, because you can drive this enough to deplete the E-assist before you plug it in, or as we'll talk about, you have to drive it in Dynamica to be able to get the additional recharge or the regenerative power in any meaningful way. Um, and so with that, when the e-assist isn't helping, you can really feel that the car is down on power. So in the car driving it, the drive for the most part feels pretty nice. Granted, I will mention there's a couple of things I like and dislike about it. Well, the first would be really talking about the drive modes on the car. The drive modes, which can be adjusted down here in the center console, you've got A, N, and D. So your Dynamica mode that we're in right now is certainly my preferred mode, simply because unfortunately there's no way to drive this car in the normal mode with the gasoline engine on 100% of the time. And you might think with a hybrid like this, you really wouldn't want the engine on all the time, but this little 4-cylinder that's in the car is a bit rough when you kind of get it going. So when you really put your foot down to start accelerating, it can pick up speed in a hurry. But when you have it in electric, it has to kick on the car, and kicking on the car's engine, well, is just not my favorite. So we've put it down into the normal mode, and nice little graphic that comes up. But the car will immediately, as you can see, we've got a 0 for RPM, and that's because the car has kicked down to electric only. And the electric only drives pretty nice. It has enough power for most of the time that you're driving. But as you can see, it's got 13 miles of range, and the max range on this, I believe, is 33 miles. But if I step down, it then you see it cut in, and it's got this real lag between the power of having the engine on, and then it just immediately cuts it off. I really wish that was a bit different. The other interesting thing is, if you want it to ride in the firmer mode, you do have this center button to turn on and off the firm suspension, but you can't turn it on in any mode other than Dynamica. So you turn into Dynamica, it'll pop on the engine, you get the little graphic. Now the red light is lit up in the center, though you can press it and it'll tell you the soft dampers have been selected. So that's a little bit annoying. The other thing is in Dynamica mode, you've got this real lurchy feeling on the gas pedal because it's constantly trying to regenerate. But that's really the area that makes me want to use Dynamica the most, is when you're driving in this mode, you can actually add quite a bit of electric range back. I've driven it for 2 days now in Dynamica, haven't plugged it in, although I've been plugging it in at home. But this car will take about 14 hours from flat to fill up, at least with the home charger. And so when you're in Dynamica, at least the engine's running the whole time, it's charging the battery, you get the full power. When you're in the normal mode, it cuts on and off, but it prioritizes the electric assist, just like we're pulling off from here. Totally quiet, no noise from the engine, because the engine, of course, is turned off. And that's nice, but sometimes I want to be able to have the extra get up and go when I want it. Now, of course, we can select that down into the A, which is essentially our efficiency mode. And in this mode, everything is going to be tuned to be as efficient as it can be. So that's, of course, nice to have. It rides reasonably well, especially when those firm dampers are not selected. But here, of course, you're limited by the amount of power, because this being an all-wheel drive, it's an electric-only all-wheel drive, which basically means that the rear wheels are powered by the electric motor, not by the gas motor. So right now we're down on power, which, speaking of which, I'm going to put foot to the floor and watch what happens. This is kind of interesting. So foot down, it tells me that the upgraded efficiency mode can't be used, kicks on the engine, and then immediately kicks it off. And I do wonder about what the durability is like when it's constantly turning the engine on and off. Past that, few other things to mention. Steering wheel feels nice compared to my Stelvio. The leather definitely isn't quite as nice. For whatever reason, the material they're using here on the shift boot isn't that great. I do like the touchscreen. All the different options is pretty neat. It does operate a bit slow, as you just saw there, but so be it. Has plenty of options to be able to go around. The nav screen, pretty neat to be able to go in the center gauge cluster. Bit of a bummer though that you cannot use it to be able to run your Android Auto in the center gauge cluster. I sure wish you could. All of your lane departure and all those settings do work pretty easy. They're on the steering wheel here. Start stop is on the steering wheel, of course. Now, to get to one other complaint, you'll notice as we're looking at the radio, what do you not see? Well, you would be exactly right. There is no volume knob. So I never would have thought that I would have wanted a volume knob as much as I do, not having one. And strangely, the volume rocker is on the center, but when you're looking at it from this way, it's almost totally obstructed, especially when you put the car into drive. You can't really see it from where you're sitting. And of course, you can do volume here on the steering wheel, but the up-down button is almost not as intuitive as I really wish it was, because to change the radio station or the track you're listening to, you're scrolling on the scroll wheel. Whereas I feel like that could be volume plus minus for different tracks, but instead plus minus is volume. Other thing is, with that, it's a little annoying to get into the center gauge cluster. You've got to press this little mode button. It almost looks like a copy button, so you click on that, and then we can start going through and adjust what mode and what settings we're going to use on the car. Here goes through, works fine. I do like, of course, having the navigation as my main display. It's my preferred way of driving the car. I like seeing that there. Although if it could load up Waze and let you know if there's things coming up in the road, that would be much nicer too. Overall, I'm reasonably pleased with how the car drives, but it doesn't quite have the same, say, alpha sensation that my Stelvio does. Here it's plenty enjoyable to drive, but the Stelvio kind of, has a little something to it. The sound of this car is not quite as strong as, I wish it was. But overall, I mean, you can't argue with it, though. For $56,000, you should be getting a real nice car. Well, anyways, let's kick down and see if we can't get that engine to turn back on. There we go. Thanks for joining me to check out the Alfa Romeo Tonale from the perspective of an Alfa Romeo Stelvio owner. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. It's funny. This car is really nice, and in many ways, I think some of its flaws are totally forgivable until you see that they have that Dodge Hornet, which is so similar. And with that, I wonder, for the price difference, what are you really getting between the two? And that's kind of harsh to say, but I think it's true. I am curious, especially since this doesn't have quite the same, feeling that, say, the Stelvio or Giulia do, that kind of make you feel special when you drive it. It's a totally competent car. It definitely drives nicely. It's got enough power. It's kind of fun, but it doesn't necessarily irk you to get out and drive. So go ahead and let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. While you're at it, be sure to hit subscribe and definitely browse the channel to see other videos like this to check out as well.